It's Maddie Jones, and I am talking today to Dr. Angela Hanley over at Gateway Metabolic, we'll say Wellness Center, and then get into everything that entails in just a moment. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you.
Always so good to talk with you. So let's start out with the fact that I said Gateway Wellness Center, because at your location, you do more than just one thing. In fact, you're doing a whole lot at that location. And we'll start out with what the program I probably know the best, which is your Gateway Metabolic Weight Loss.
Sure.
So before we get into some of my specifics, tell us what the program is and how it all works.
The metabolic program is a program that's designed to be very individualized for people who have found themselves with a metabolism that's not necessarily serving their health picture.
Yes, I'll raise my hand highly for that one.
So, and that can manifest itself in a number of different ways. It can be in lack of energy. It can be in digestive issues. It can be difficulty losing weight. It can be, I don't know. What else? What else can it be?
Well,
Maddie?
for me, it was lack of sleep. There was no sleep. Just an overall feeling of, I don't know how else to describe it other than blech. I mean, it was just a blech feeling. And I came to you actually, oh gosh, it's been like 3 years ago, I think. 2 years ago when we started the whole program. It's been a while.
Yeah.
And I was able to lose literally hundreds of pounds the first go around going through this program because nothing had ever worked for me, ever. And it was really the DNA part of it that really was kind of the trigger for me that really helped, which is the best part about the whole thing. And then, of course, I'm currently in a reset. That's what I keep calling it. And gosh, I think that's the best part. I'm down, what did we figure out? Like 15, 16 pounds at this point from when I started the reset. It's like 11 inches now, so that's pretty awesome. But it's just those habits. You and I have talked about that, that I had kind of let go a little bit. And as soon as I got back into the program, I was like, oh, there's a reason the scale wasn't doing what I needed it to do. But it's just an overall feeling of health and feeling better, not only just overall, but about myself as well. And that's really what you're doing for lots of people here now.
Yeah. And what you described, that feeling, that black feeling, an official diagnosis code that would go with that would be metabolic syndrome.
Okay.
And along with that can be issues that people might be experiencing, like pre-diabetic or full diabetic. They could have blood pressure issues. They could have cholesterol issues. So there's so much wrapped into our metabolism and whether it's serving us or not. And it's relatively simple to turn it around, as you've experienced. The problem feels so complicated, and I think that's why people don't know where to start. And so they get a little bit of information fatigue because they find, they try this, they might try paleo, they might try keto. Most of the time they have tried what their doctor said, which was to eat less and get moving more. Yeah, but you know what? That makes us hungry.
Yes.
So
nobody wants to be hungry.
So there are some different answers, and using that DNA report really does help people focus on what is it they're supposed to be eating. And that is huge because what you're supposed to be eating is different from what I'm supposed to be eating. And if we can learn how to go through the process of a detox and a metabolic reset, and then learn how to fuel our bodies correctly, that can make all the difference.
Now, one of the coolest things about Gateway Metabolic Weight Loss is, you and I have talked about this as well. After COVID started, the company was kind of going to more of an online edge anyway, but that is an option now for anybody who's maybe listening to this today. And then we also have to talk about that, and then the new app you were telling me about as well.
Right. Yeah. So my online goal was I wanted to be able to, back in 2019 or 2020, my goal was to have full online capability within 3 years.
Okay.
Well, I had it within 3 weeks.
Nice.
Of the COVID shutdown starting.
We could do so many things fast.
Right? If we prioritize them, they just go.
Yes.
So, and credit does go to my my company, Activate Metabolics, that I license through, who licenses me as a doctor on this program, that they supported us with full telehealth capabilities very, very quickly. So those have not only maintained, but they've improved since then. Nice. And through this process process, so many people have actually been able to get help online. And so COVID didn't shut that possibility down.
Yeah. You were just telling me that they've released this new app as well. So tell us how that works. And I mean, really, that links you closer to your patients in some degree as well and gives you more feedback as to how you can help them better.
Right. It absolutely streamlines the information that we're sharing and gathering between myself and my patients. That their DNA report comes up in full right there on the app. I sit down and I still review it, and I make sure that everybody knows how to apply it for themselves, but they can review it right there in the app. They can keep track of their goals. They can keep track of all of their measurables right from home. So whether it's somebody who's face-to-face with me and I'm putting that information in there for them, or online anywhere in the country, I can do this program with somebody. And this makes me feel like I can serve the people who are my distance people just as fully as I do my people who are face-to-face.
Because honestly, one of the best parts about doing this program is being able to come in and get feedback from you and just know that if you're, maybe stuck, it's okay, because you get to that point where you're like, why is there things moving? And you always calm me down, and you're like, it's okay. It's okay. And I appreciate that more than anything. Now, we also have to talk a little bit about some of the other things that you're doing here, because not only do you have the weight loss portion, it's called the Wellness Center because you're also doing chiropractic care here.
I came to Baraboo in 2000, established a practice as well as my family, and now have moved my practice into a new location with a new name. So it's Gateway Wellness Center. And I love the idea of the Wellness Center because I can provide so many more aspects of health and wellness than what I was doing before.
Okay.
So not only chiropractic and movement, like functional movement type therapy. I see a lot of kids and teenagers. I see a lot of athletes. So especially our teen athletes in the area. They're just a joy to work with because they're so tuned in with their bodies.
Yeah.
And then working, of course, then with the nutrition piece has really opened things up in terms of how I can move a whole family's wellness forward.
Yeah.
Not necessarily just one person with their weight loss, that can happen too, but the whole family can learn how to eat. The DNA test can be used for a spouse and it can be used for kids. Everybody can learn how they should be eating better. I've counseled a number of teens who want to get better and back on track. Yeah. And I tell you what, those kids, when you tell them what they should be eating and why, they're so smart. Yeah. They get it.
Yeah.
So they're not just eating Cheetos because, they're addictive.
Spacey, you gotta eat them once in a while.
But sometimes they don't know what they should be eating. And if you tell them that, they can be really great on staying on task.
Yeah. I mean, we've got a 15-year-old Dexter, and he's kind of in that boat right now. He's got a gluten sensitivity. He's lactose intolerant. So he's doing the FODMAP diet right now as a recommendation from his doctor. But at the same time, he doesn't really know what that means or why. So we're trying to kind of start going through some of the same things you're talking about, because just for that aspect is he wants to be healthier. He wants to be more fit. But, it's really giving them the tools. And I love that you do the entire family here. It's not just a one person. It's not, you really incorporate it into everybody. And that's one thing that I've learned in our house is when I started eating better, a lot of those habits without even telling any of them just kind of shifted. And all of a sudden they're like, oh, that's way better than what did you do different?
Yep.
It's not a processed thing. It's not full of sugar type thing. We eat a lot of sugar free in our house, and that kind of, just because of that, that's the way I eat now.
And I experienced the same thing, that my kids have become so much more in tune with what's good. And it does not mean they're suddenly in nutrition lockdown.
Right.
They
right.
eat plenty of stuff that teenagers eat.
Yep.
But they are very conscious of what's healthy in a way that many people their age aren't. And what I also appreciate about this is that we have in our household, where I actually have a lot of girls, we've had a lot of discussions about body consciousness. And that is a real gift of this, because this is not about getting into smaller dress sizes. It happens.
It feels
smaller
nice, but
clothing sizes do happen when somebody's firmly in metabolic, shutdown. It certainly happened to me, but that's not the point. The point is to be healthy. And there is a range of healthy, and it does not look one way.
Yeah.
And that has become a very important message, not only, of course, for me and my girls or for any teenagers that I work with, but with my clientele in general.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm a testament to that. I came in here with symptoms of irritable bowel. I had battled with that for years, hormone issues, all of that. And within probably about 6 months, 5 to 6 months of being on the program, all my medicines were weaned away. I mean, it's just because of how my body was responding. And I have never felt better. It's absolutely crazy when I think of how I felt 3 years ago to where I feel today. And it is night and day different. I don't have the stomach issues. In fact, I know I'm actually sick if I have a stomach issue one day because I just don't have them anymore. And so it's absolutely amazing how different you can feel and how your body will respond when you're doing the right things for it and doing what it actually needs.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the part I think I can't stress enough is this is a program that literally works with what your body is asking for. And that's the key to the whole thing, I think, is there's so many diets. I had tried them all, like absolutely every single one of them.
Me too.
I'd have a little success and then all of a sudden it was just done. Or I'd come to a complete standstill, get so frustrated that I couldn't do it anymore. And I don't consider this a diet. It's food. I'm eating real food. And I mean, you and I talk about this all the time. We're eating real food. We have chocolate. I'll go into Tin Roof Dairy and have like a little tiny ice cream with, like, these are things that I'm doing, you know? And I know you've done the same thing.
It doesn't mean that you don't have celebrations. In fact, it's a really important piece of what I coach my patients through is please, when your mom makes you a birthday cake,
you eat it.
Eat a piece, gosh darn it. You need to eat that cake.
Right.
But let's talk about what happens around that.
Yep.
Do you need to be the one that takes the sheet cake home from the party? No, you don't need to be that person. Let somebody else be that person.
And you don't derail everything that you've already done. And there's no guilt associated because you're living. You're actually living.
Yeah. And we're meant to have celebrations with our families, with our friends around food. Food is a very important human connector. Yep. So it should be something that serves our health. And that's what I try to coach people into is not avoiding it, but how do you step into it and make it part of your health picture?
Yeah. I mean, I just think of holidays even. Our holidays have changed so much as far as what we eat because there's mashed sweet potatoes with almond milk. And, you know, and I make regular potatoes because the boys in my house like regular potato. My oldest one, though, who's 18, he will beg for mashed sweet potatoes over regular potatoes. I mean, it's just those little things that are so different. Lots of fresh fruit salads and fresh veggies and things like that are all incorporated into what are now holidays.
Right.
When you talk about the importance of food and gatherings. Now, I know here at Gateway Metabolic Wellness Center, you also do supportive programs, and I know you have different supplements and things like that. So tell us about some of the things that you're carrying here.
Yeah. So first of all, what's an important part of this program is that it is not supplement based. You're not getting into a multi-level marketing situation. You are not destined to stay on supplements the rest of your life or something like that. However, I do use certain products in a very targeted fashion to help restore gut health. So things like probiotics and a detox and good multivitamin, those are really, really inherent to our overall well-being. Whether they come from me or they come from another source. I also use some really great locally sourced CBD products from the Endocannabis Company. And they have been wonderful in helping people manage issues around sleep, issues around mood. Of course, that's going to affect stress eating. Issues around inflammation, joint pain, and things like that as they go through this program. So CBD supplementation can be a very helpful tool that, of course, not everybody uses, but some people use that as a way to support their overall metabolic journey. The other things that I use are essential oils. Those can be used very selectively for help with digestion. They can be used for help with sleep. They can use to help decrease stress. So for people who maybe are reluctant to try CBD products, essential oils are a really great way. I personally use both.
Yep.
Because I just can't get enough of good sleep and
Yep.
decreasing stress, right? And yeah, a worldwide pandemic will be like the thing that brings out all of the tools.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You need a little a little drawer full of just the good stuff in life to help you get through, because it's been a crazy time.
Right.
And I think, as we emerge a little bit more from COVID, I think people are realizing that maybe things did get a little lax in their world, or maybe, they realize that the health could be a little bit better. And these are all really important things that we're talking about today that you can help people with.
Right. And interestingly, one of the things that I've observed, and not only me, but I've actually seen some solid research behind it, is that COVID, the virus, seems to have disrupted our gut health and created more, just like it does in the rest of the system, increased inflammation in the gut as well. So there are a lot of people out there who are suffering from digestive issues post-COVID that they're not understanding because they don't know that that was a part of it. So between chiropractic, adding to overall health, but also even if somebody doesn't need to lose weight, they can use the DNA report to find out how they can be eating to support really excellent gut health and make really big shifts in their health just through that.
I've had a couple people ask me about that, how they get in touch with you to do just that.
And that's completely independent of weight. That's just understanding what your genetics predetermine that is good fuel.
Yeah.
What's good fuel for you?
Yeah. And again, that's the best part, is what is good fuel for me is not going to be good fuel for another person.
Right.
Like my DNA report is basically really high good fats. So I do lots of avocado oils and things like that. I do lots of cashews and almonds and almond butters, things like that, because that's what I need. Now, does that necessarily work for somebody else? You can attest to no. You have patients who are completely on the other end of the spectrum of that, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. And you don't know those things. You can make certain guesses about them based on your experience, but you don't know them for sure until you try it. I have people who are so protein dependent that even if they focused on protein, they had no idea how much they really needed. And that paradoxically, if they don't get that amount of protein, their body will retain weight. So they have to eat more.
Yeah. And that's the other nice thing too, is people are listening to us talk. Usually when we think about weight loss, we think of, oh my gosh, got to exercise so much. And you know what? That's the other thing about what the DNA does, is I learned that I only need about maybe 30 minutes of high intensity exercising about 3 times a week. That's literally what I follow. That's all I do. Right. I don't have time for anything else. So it's good that it's that low. But I mean, it goes as far as really telling us how we can efficiently burn fat and stay at this optimal health if we choose to work out a little bit too.
Yes. And I think the surprise for most people would be that it might be less than what they thought, but they can get that, they can get really great exercise in not only at home or being outdoors, but trainers in our area. We've got just absolutely wonderful gyms that can take this information and help them apply it as well. So there are so many different ways to approach it, and we've got a lot of really valuable professionals in our area that can help with that.
It's also a great time to get outside and be a little bit more active and maybe just start looking at that overall health too.
The number one thing that I hear from patients is they want to get started because they want to be able to keep up with their kids.
Yeah.
It's either with their kids or their grandkids, and it's in our beautiful area. It's usually because they want to be able to hike with their kids.
Well, yes, I'm right there. I mean, Dexter and I, my first year especially, he was really into that stuff. We were, oh my gosh, I probably hiked more of Devil's Lake than I can ever even possibly know, but it was incredible. And I was able to do it. That's the important part. And I was able to actually do it. So that's all, it's that they're the whole reason you do anything, right? And I just wanted to be here longer. I wanted to take care of myself. I wanted to be here longer. And so when I saw your sign for the first time, I was like, okay, we're going to do this. And I came to you terrified, I'll be honest, because so many things had failed for so long. And I had fought hormones and I had fought so many different things over the course of my life. And I was pretty skeptical. I'm like, I don't know how this is going to work, but I was like, I can't not do something. And so here we are. So it's been pretty incredible. And the reset, again, like I said earlier, I'm going through the reset, just a few days left on that. And it's just good to have the healthy habits back again. Instead of eyeballing things, I have to actually measure it out again.
Yeah. Well, you have been just so fun to work with, and it's been a pleasure to not only watch you, but also learn from you, because with every single patient, I'm learning too. And that helps me get that next person further down the road and helps them to know what to expect and to know what they need to do to plan. And then I've got patients like you who share recipes with me all the time. And as often as I can, I turn around and share those out. So, it really is, it's like being in a community that's supporting each other.
For sure. So I told everybody we would give the pertinent information, like where you're located, how to get a hold of you. So for anybody who's interested in starting, whether a weight loss journey, maybe they just want to get healthier, maybe they need some chiropractic care, all of the things we've talked about today, what is the best way to go about reaching you?
To get an idea of what my office is like, you can go to gatewaywellnessclinic.com. Okay. There is a link there, or you can go directly to gateway2weightloss.com. That's gateway, then the number 2, weightloss.com. That's looking at the metabolic program specifically. I am located on the west side of Baraboo at 830 Highway 136. And my phone number to contact me directly, 608-745-2423. I answer phone calls or texts.
Okay.
And let's get connected in all of those ways, whether it's online support or whether it's face-to-face support. I'm here for any way I can support my patients.
And I'll mention that she also answers Facebook messages really well. And you're very active on Facebook. So that's another way for anybody who's maybe, looking to connect with you.
Yes.
Dr. Angela Hanley, thank you so, so much. You are just an awesome individual. You are doing so much out at Gateway Metabolic Wellness Center, Gateway Wellness Center. And we just appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and kind of lay it all out and explain it all to us today, because it's a lot. You do a lot. It's incredible what you're doing. And we didn't even get into the nonprofit that she's running from Gateway Wellness Center either. It's incredible. So thank you. And I just encourage anybody to contact Dr. Angela Hanley. Again, she listed out those websites. You can go to her Facebook page, give her a text, a call, whatever it is. Don't be scared to start this journey. It's Maddie Jones on 99.7 Max FM.